Hello, it's Lord Slar here, coming with another video, and the topic of today's is the top 5 Sylvester McCoy stories. So the McCoy era is one which often gets flack and is considered torn by the fan base, as in it's 12 episodes long, 6 episodes are hated, and 6 episodes mostly are loved. There's some people who like and some people who don't like Greatest Show in the Galaxy, but in recent times, as with a lot of 80s Who, which is often hated, it's starting to be liked a bit more these days, and I think it deserves it. I quite like Greatest Show in the Galaxy, but let's leave that for a moment and, just talk about my thoughts on the era. I really enjoy it. I mean, I kind of agree with the whole 6 episodes good, 6 episodes bad thing. Although, bear in mind, I haven't watched Paradise Towers or The Happiness Patrol yet. I mean, I plan to, but I'm really not looking forward to watching Paradise Towers. But oh well, let's get into the list. So at number 5 we have The Greatest Show in the Galaxy. This is a really good story and quite an underrated one. I can kind of see why people might not like it. It can be a bit campy at times, and the whole things with clowns can be a bit. I personally really enjoy it because it's got a great atmosphere, some great music, a great story, and it just kind of grips you in and you're kind of sucked in for the entire thing. I mean, sure, it can be a bit silly. It's got a bit of the early McCoy silliness, but personally, I don't think it suffers from it too badly. And surprisingly, I managed to take killer clowns and all this other weird shit pretty seriously just because it does a very good job of pulling you in. It's got a great atmosphere, and to be honest, at least with me, atmosphere is half the battle because if something's got a good atmosphere, I'm going to naturally feel inclined to like it because that kind of thing always does it for me. That's probably why I quite like 60s Who a lot. I find that's usually pretty atmospheric. But anyway, this episode, it's pretty enjoyable. The greatest thing ever, but it's still really good and a little underrated, so check it out if you haven't. So at number 4 we have Battlefield. Battlefield is a really, really good story. Again, like Greatest Show in the Galaxy, a lot of people don't like it because it's a bit silly at times, a bit campy, and to be fair, the idea is pretty stupid. Like, having there be a universe where, like, the legends of King Arthur are real, like, it's a pretty silly concept. But then if you think about it, if there are an infinite number of parallel universes, there's bound to be one exactly like that, I suppose. But because obviously there being an infinite number of possibilities, something like that could potentially happen, I suppose. I don't know, but it's a silly idea. Just get over it and watch the episode because it's a lot of fun. I mean, the Brigadier's back, the Destroyer's an excellent villain. I love Morgaine, she's also a great villain. I quite like the new Brigadier as well. She a lot more than the new Who Brigadier, like Kate. I don't like Kate. She doesn't really have that much personality. Just feels like a bit of, and certainly doesn't feel like a soldier at least. Whereas this one, I mean, some might say, she's a bit, but I personally quite like it, especially her interaction with Anselin, which is one of the knights. They've got a pretty cool dynamic going there, and just in general, the episode's full of great characters. Got a fun little story, and it's just so innocent, so fun. You can't really give it any flack without just being mean. It's a good episode. Go watch it. So at number 3 we have Survival. Now I find it quite difficult to say why I like Survival. Like, loads of people like it, but I can't really put my finger on what's good about it. Usually I try to, explain why I like something, but I'm not sure if I can with Survival. I mean, it's pretty enjoyable, pretty atmospheric. The concept's a bit out there, but, you can suspend your disbelief. The Master's back, even if he's acted a little shakily. And it's just generally enjoyable with Ace getting some more character development and even the Doctor being quite dark and mysterious and all of the imagery with like survival of the fittest and stuff. It works pretty well. So I suppose I can kind of explain it, but maybe not into as much depth as the other ones. But yeah, Survival is a really enjoyable episode, even though I can't quite put my finger on why it's so good, because it is. It's a really good episode. But oh well, that's why it comes in at number 3. So at number 2 we have Remembrance of the Daleks. Well, I mean, who doesn't like Remembrance of the Daleks? There's nothing more I can say. Everybody's, beating it to death. I mean, what can I add? Everybody likes it. And everybody says why I like it, so why do I need to say? Can't add anything. I like the cafe scene. It's a good story. Comes at number 2. So on to honourable mentions, and there's only one today, and that is Ghostlight. So Ghostlight is a really enjoyable story, if a confusing one. I get it. I do get the story. Like, I've watched it about 6 times. First 3 times, I had no clue. And slowly I've managed to build my knowledge up until now. I think I about get the episode. I'm not gonna, give away the plot right here, because for one, that's cheating. You've got to go work it out for yourself. That's kind of one of the selling points of Ghostlight. But even if you don't get the plot, it's got a great atmosphere. It's got some great character development for Ace, which we see a lot of in the McCoy era, and I think it's done quite well. I mean, classic series did do other character development, like a little more subtly than this, because I prefer more subtle character development. But it doesn't feel like that this is just Ace's episode. It's an episode in its own right. But yeah, really get your thinking cap on when you're watching it, because you're gonna need to. It's confusing. It's kind of a bit all over the place. That's why I didn't really put it on the list, just because it is not written for somebody who isn't switched on. And even if you are switched on, you're not gonna get it the first time. But oh well, it's not a mention because it's enjoyable. So at number one, you guessed it, The Curse of Fenric. So whenever I'm watching The Curse of Fenric, I kind of start watching and trying to remember why I really like the episode. Because to be honest, not too much in the first two episodes is anything amazing. I mean, don't get me, it's not bad. It's just a little underwhelming from what I remember. Then I watch parts 3 and 4, and it's so good. It's absolutely amazing. The plot just moves at such a brisk pace with all sorts of great characters. Fenric being evil, the Haemavors. Oh, it's a really fun episode with some really good lore. I mean, I do find it a bit annoying how the Doctor's like, starting to be portrayed as this god, which New Who's taken way out of proportion, and I didn't like it then, I don't like it now. But still, I really do like the character of Fenric. I like Ace's character development is definitely done best in this story. It's got some great characters. It's just overall an outstanding episode with good atmosphere due to Mark Ayer's brilliant incidental music. And to be honest, there's not too many problems with it other than like God Doctor and a few plot pacing problems in the first two episodes. I'm not saying it's slow. It's actually the opposite. It's almost slow but fast at the same time, which is the problem. Because I mean, I like a slow pace, but this is a slow pace, but they're just going all over the place, just kind of showing all the locations to set up the next two episodes, which isn't that effective of storytelling. But oh well, it's still a brilliant story, and that's why it comes in at number one. Hope you enjoyed this video, and see you back next time in another one.